to the Who Dat Nation, and welcome to the Dome Patrol Podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and Week 17 is in the books as the New Orleans Saints come out victorious against their division rival, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defeating them by the score of 23-13, bringing their record to 8-8 on the season thus far, tying them with the Buccaneers, who are also 8-8 now with this loss. And you can say it's a two-way tie for first, but it really isn't. It's more of a half game lead for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as it stands right now. But this does keep the Saints' playoff hopes alive. This was the absolute best game the Saints have played all season. Almost perfect until the fourth quarter, where the Saints kind of let up. You know, they took their foot off the gas and, gave Tampa a slight bit of hope towards the end on those last 13 points scored by the Buccaneers in the fourth quarter. But let's give credit where credit is due. This is the best we've seen all year, and I loved it. I actually loved watching them play today. It was a good feeling that I'm not used to in the past couple of years, to see offense, special teams, and defense clicking on all cylinders. It was a weird feeling. I was sitting there like, man, is this the Saints? Are we really the Saints? But at the same time, as happy as I was to finally see it, I couldn't help but get mad. I couldn't help but get upset. And I know I'm not the only one, but maybe I'm the only one that's going to say it out loud. I couldn't help but get mad at the fact that, where was this? Why did it take 17 weeks for it to come together? To finally come together, where your back is literally against the wall. Actually, you're through the wall. It's frustrating, because I knew, and I'm pretty sure a vast majority of the Who Dat Nation knew, that this team is capable of playing like this every week. Every week. If not every week, most of the time. There's no reason this team should be 8-8 with one game remaining in the season. It's ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous to me, because there's way too much talent on this team to underachieve in the matter that they've underachieved throughout this season. And yes, I couldn't help but get frustrated. And even if it finally clicked, if it finally came together, you have to ask yourself the question: is it too late? Did it come a week or maybe 2 weeks too late for this team? Because even if we win next week, we still need help. We still need the Carolina Panthers to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week. Now, Tampa Bay has a lot on the line. They had a lot on the line today as well. But I don't know if Carolina got it in them to beat Tampa next week. And that's in conjunction with the Saints beating the Atlanta Falcons, who just got smacked up and down the field against Chicago today. It's all I can say is finish strong. That's all I can say. Like I said, I've been kind of gave up on this season as a whole, as far as postseason aspirations, and making a run. I don't see it, but have something to build on, because depending on some of the reports that you heard before the game, I know I saw them, they were popping up on my feeds and everything, that Dennis Allen's job is safe. So that means Dennis Allen is coming back. Derek Carr is coming back. Now they did say Pete Carmichael might be the odd man out, which is fine. But at the same time, the captain of the ship, man, is the captain of the ship. It doesn't matter who the seamen are that are running around the bow. If the captain's still the same, it doesn't matter. And so I still stand by what I said. I don't know if I can watch it next season with Dennis Allen as the head coach. I don't see it happening. But that's down the line. That's the future. Let's enjoy this. This is the end of the year. This is the last day of the year, and this is a good feeling to end the calendar year on. The New Orleans Saints beating, and I mean the score don't reflect. The score don't reflect what the Saints did to Tampa today. It was a beatdown, which was another thing that kind of made me mad. What happened in week 4? If you listen to the show regularly, and thank you, by the way, if you do, and you was listening to me discuss that game in week 4 and beyond, I often ask the question, how did we lose that game? I still don't know how we lost that game. Despite the fact we lost close to about 20 points or whatever, I still don't know what happened. I don't know how they beat us. Because I saw this team for what it is. This team is not good. Tampa is not a good team. As hard as the Saints struggle, Tampa is worse. And so I couldn't understand how we allowed them to beat us like that. And so we fast forward to today, week 17 in Tampa, and this is pretty much what I thought they were. In the words of Denny Green, God rest his soul, they were who we thought they were. That team is trash, and the Saints proved it today. Baker Mayfield looked horrible. They couldn't run the ball. Their secondary is what was advertised. Horrible. It was horrible. Tampa Bay defense is so bad. They made Derek Carr look like he threw for 500 yards today. Derek Carr didn't even crack 200 yards passing today. But they looked so bad, it looked like Derek Carr threw for like 300-400 yards. No, Derek Carr just did what his normal check down Charlie self did. He did just enough to win the game. He took his shots, laying some nice balls down the field. Not taking nothing away from him. He played a decent game today. Everybody played decent. I really don't have anything to rag on too much with anybody on the team, but no, I'm just saying that Tampa Bay is that bad, and it feels good to be vindicated in my beliefs when it comes to that. I was not sold on this Tampa Bay team. I was not sold on Baker Mayfield giving us those, what was it, a 4-game winning streak that he had? Commendable, don't get me wrong, but it's Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield was all that, Baker Mayfield would have been on somebody's team. He never would have left Cleveland. He never would have left Cleveland. He never would have left Los Angeles. He never would have left, what was the other team? Carolina. If he was all that, but whatever. Let's recap this big victory from the Saints. Probably their first defining win of the season, with their playoff hopes on the line. The New Orleans Saints defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-13. The win improves the Saints to 8-8, moving them into a tie for first place with Tampa. The Saints will need to beat the Atlanta Falcons next week and Tampa to lose to Carolina in order to win the division. Given a wild card berth would be a little more difficult. The Saints offense started fast, scoring their first touchdown on an opening possession this season. Yes, this was the first time the Saints scored on their opening drive this year, this season, and that is ridiculous as a team. And the defense squeezed the Bucs, holding them to 44 yards of offense in the first half, and went on to force not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 turnovers today. The Saints have a tough day with injuries. However, we got the win, but it came at somewhat of a stiff price. The Saints lost Alvin Kamara, our running back, who left at the end of the first half with an ankle injury, while our right tackle, Landon Young, he left the game as well. But what makes, put salt in the wound with that, he was replacing Ryan Ramczyk, who was placed on IR just the other day. Linebacker Nufur Sewell, he left with a knee injury. It looked pretty serious. He got carted off early in the game. Alvin Kamara did manage to surpass the 10,000 yard mark from scrimmage before he went out with the injury. So congratulations to Alvin Kamara for that achievement. Praying for a speedy recovery on the ankle. Quarterback Derek Carr had a strong game. He completed 24 of 32 passes for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. The first was a 4-yard touchdown grab by Juwan Johnson. The second, a 22-yard touchdown grab by Taysom Hill. That was a beautiful ball. I got to tip my hat to Derek Carr on that one. That was a beautifully thrown ball. Johnson had his best game of his career with 8 catches and 9 yards receiving. Kicker Blake Grupe had 3 field goals today. He had a 45, a 28, and a 38-yarder. Running back Jamal Williams took most of the snaps after Alvin Kamara left the game. He had one of his best games, definitely his best game as a New Orleans Saints, carrying the ball 19 times for 58 yards and catching 4 passes for 13 yards. Cornerback Alante Taylor had his first career interception in the first half, while safety Jonathan Abram had a key forced fumble and an interception in the second half. Linebacker Demario Davis recovered the fumble that Abram forced and returned it 22 yards. Cornerback Isaac Yeldum recovered a fumble by Trey Palmer at the 13-yard line to end one of Tampa Bay's scoring opportunities. Zach Braun and Brian Breesy had sacks on Tampa Bay quarterback Baker Mayfield. The Saints are waiting to find out their Week 18 game against the Saints will be scheduled. It will be at home in the Dome, but still don't know if it will be on Saturday or on Sunday. Either way, it's going down in the Dome this weekend. So we have that to look forward to. Let's go over the stats of today's game, beginning with our individual stats. Passing yards, went through a couple of them already. Derek Carr, 24 of 32, 197 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 1 time and had a quarterback rating of 111.1. Baker Mayfield, he was 22 of 33, 309 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice and had a quarterback rating of 91.6. Our leading rusher today was Jamal Williams, 19 carries for 58 yards. Alvin Kamara, before he left in the first half, he had 10 carries for 45 yards. Leading rusher for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was Rashid Wright, 11 carries for 42 yards. Leading receiver today was Juwan Johnson with 8 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Leading receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Trey Palmer, 4 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. Team stats, beginning with first downs, and first downs look almost like the score. The Saints had 20 first downs, 13 by passing, 6 by rushing, and 1 by penalty. Tampa Bay had 13 first downs, 10 by passing, 1 by rushing, and 2 by penalty. On third down, Saints were 8 for 18. Tampa were 2 for 8. On fourth down, Saints never went for it on fourth. Tampa went for it once and converted once. Total plays, Saints ran 70 total plays today to Tampa's 50. Total yardage, Saints had 310 yards to Tampa's 349 yards. Total drives were dead even at 12. And yards per play, Saints 4.4 yards per play to Tampa Bay's 7 yards per play. Passing, the Saints had 202 yards passing to Tampa's 292. Running the ball, Saints, and I think this is like maybe the first time this season. I'm probably wrong, but it feels like this is the first time this season the Saints have held the team under 100 yards rushing. The Saints themselves had 108 yards rushing to Tampa's 57 yards rushing. Red zone, the Saints were 1 for 3 in the red zone. Tampa never got into the red zone. Penalties, Saints had 5 penalties for 31 yards. Tampa had 5 penalties for 38 yards. And Tampa turned the ball over 4 times today to the Saints 0. Saints also had time of possession on lock with 36 minutes and 38 seconds to Tampa's 23 minutes and 22 seconds. Now it's time for who gets to sit in the corner and who gets the game ball. Nobody sits in the corner today. Congratulations to the New Orleans Saints. Everybody played exceptionally well today, but I do have to give a game ball to one individual and not the whole team, and that game ball goes to Juwan Johnson. This was Juwan Johnson's best game of the season. He had an outstanding game today. I really was impressed. He didn't drop any balls today. He was getting open, making some really good moves that, to get open. I love the way they used him today. It was his best game as a New Orleans Saint. Juwan Johnson gets the game ball. Our grades today, in case you don't know how I do the grades, I grade every unit of the New Orleans Saints: offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and we average it all out to get an overall grade of the New Orleans Saints performance today against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Beginning with offense gets a B plus today. I wanted to give it higher. I wanted to give it higher, but it was kind of, nothing wowed me on on the offensive side of the ball. It was kind of conservative. Now, when they needed to make some adjustments and take shots, they did, and I was impressed by that. Derek Carr looked decent today, but didn't do anything to wow you. And you can make the argument he didn't have to, in order to beat Tampa, which is true. And so I can't get mad at that. But there were opportunities there when the Saints could have just ran over this team, especially in the second half. Saints kind of sputtered in the second half offensively. They only scored 6 points in the second half, 2 field goals, and did nothing really. It really gave Tampa a chance to get back in the game. And in the fourth quarter, it almost turned into that. I couldn't even get mad at the defense because they were getting right back on the field. And so for that reason, I give them a B plus. For the defense, gets an A minus. That defense, man. Oh my God, they came to play today. Ooh, Lord, they came to play today. Rashid White, over the last few weeks, has been running the piss out of that ball. He has been looking real good running the ball for Tampa Bay over the last few weeks. Today, he was a non-factor. Baker Mayfield was the hottest quarterback over the past month, statistic-wise. He was slicing defenses up. Just last week, he tore through the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Made them look like little kids out there. Saints defense put him to shame today. It was the stuff of legends, man. It was amazing. And so and the force 4 turnovers. Well, forced 3 of them. One we got a little lucky on, but we got it. And so we got 4 turnovers on this team. Amazing job by the defense. They get an A minus. The special teams gets an A. I think Luke Headley who was kind of questionable this week. He was a little injured, but he just it was some nice punts. He was pinning the Tampa Bay offense pretty deep, man. He really was flipping field position and changing the dynamic of the team. And Blake Groupie nailed all of his kicks. Special teams, great job. They get an A, and man, coaching gets an A minus. Coaching gets an A minus first time this season. They get close to an A. Yes, they are. They came in with a game plan today and executed it. They were prepared today, and I'm impressed. I was. I didn't think Dennis Allen had it in him, but great job. Great job. I mean, I got to tip my hat. I got to tip my hat. Shocked me. I'll be the first to admit, shocked me. They had a excellent game plan coming into this Tampa Bay game. I can't do anything but tip my hat to Dennis Allen today. Awesome performance. I still want a different head coach. Overall, for the Saints' performance today versus Tampa, they get an A minus. This was an awesome game. This was their best game of the season. Really, really good game. I hate that they had to wait 17 weeks to get it, but what's how the old saying go? Better late than never. I guess better late than never. And this is despite the fact, I look forward to it's the little things in life that make me feel good. I really I hate the fact that we were robbed as a fan base of the Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore link up. I was upset by that. And that's just one of the little joys that I get when watching the Saints versus Tampa. Because without fail, they're gonna fight. Every game. And it always changed the dynamic of the game. Maybe that's something we should do moving forward. Maybe sit Lattimore when we gotta play Tampa, because they look like a different team. There's no fighting and all that. There was some little scrums that took place on the field, but that was frustration on Tampa part. But towards the end of the game. But yeah, man, I hate that we didn't get that though. I missed that. I was really saying that during the game. I'm like, man, we're not going to get the scrum today. But it is what it is. Saints come out victorious and keep their playoff chances alive. I think the Saints, do they have a chance? Yeah, they got a chance. They still have an outside chance of making the wild card. I don't know. It's a lot. I'm not even going to look all that up and start dissecting that, because that's ridiculous. It's bad enough that we got to hope and pray Carolina grow a spine and beat Tampa next week. So I hate scoreboard watching. I can't stand scoreboard watching. But regardless, this is where we at. This is where we at as a squad. We don't have any other option. So next week is going to be a big game. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to flex it some type of way. Have the Saints play on Saturday and have Tampa play on Sunday, and let us sweat it out all day. Get our pressure up all day and all this here. I hope they don't do that. Me personally, I hope they play at the same time. Get it over with. I want to know as soon as the clock hit 4 zeros. I just want to know it's over. Let's put it to bed. But whatever. Or we move on. We'll see. We'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic. I still believe that we're going to get destroyed if we get into the playoffs, but I'm optimistic, because there is that outside chance that the Saints could clinch a berth. But we'll see next week. We'll discuss it more next week when we preview the Saints versus Atlanta. So, are you happy with this game? Do you think the Saints got it together? Or do you think this was an aberration of some sorts by the Saints? I don't know. I don't know. I think this is who this team is. Derek Carr, it didn't wow you. He didn't, set the scoreboard on fire. He didn't make any fantasy football players or people happy. Didn't make them any more money. But at the same time, he did enough to win the game. He didn't turn the ball over. I mean, what more can you ask for? So I get all of that, but I, that's all you really that's all you really want. I think the commentator said that Greg Olson during the game. He's like, this is all the Saints wanted from me. And I'm like, yeah, you must listen to the show. That's all I ever wanted from Derek Carr. I never wanted Derek Carr to come out here and throw for 5,000 yards this season. I I could care less about all that. I just want you to manage the game. And people say game manager like it's a dirty word or something. That's fine. Game manage. Manage the game. If you can manage the game and win. Look, Alex Smith made a whole career out of game management. I mean, what's Peyton Manning? That's all he was, people. Peyton Manning was a game manager. You can make the argument Tom Brady was a game manager. Tom Brady didn't set the world. That one year when he had Randy Moss, that's when he went to lighten it up numbers wise. But other than that, he was a game manager. Got him 6 Super Bowls. Can't get mad at it. So, or is it 7? I forgot how many he got. It's too many to count. But he's a game manager. And that's all I ever wanted from Derek Carr. I don't care about his stats, his numbers, and all this here. Orchestrate an offensive drive where we could score or give us a scoring opportunity, a la today. I think he did excellent, especially in that first half. Second half kind of sputtered, but I think that was more the play calling than it was him. We was really trying to run the clock out and whatnot. Yeah, that's all I ever wanted. So if this is what we're going to get moving forward, that's fine. That's cool. But we still need to make some changes. We have some changes that desperately need to be made on this team looking forward. But once again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But like I said, I'd like to know what you think moving forward. Do you think the Saints have a chance at the playoffs? Do you have any faith in the Carolina Panthers? Do you have faith in yourselves? Because it would be really bad. Saints go out here and lose to Atlanta and Carolina beats the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It would be soul crushing if that was to happen. But I would like to know what you think. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look up the show on all social media platforms. Just search KB Radio Network, as well as YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap of the New Orleans Saints victorious trip to Tampa Bay, defeating the Buccaneers by the score of 23-13, putting their record at 8-8 on the season with one more game to go in this regular season. Everybody, I want you all to have a happy, healthy, and safe new year. Don't celebrate this game too hard to whereas you go out here and do something crazy, hurt yourself or hurt others. Enjoy it safely. I hope 2024 is as prosperous and fun and exciting and happy and joyous as it was this year, even more than it was this year. Can't wait to speak to you on the other side of the clock. And until then, until 2024, I'm going to be screaming, "Who dat?"